violet flame, now blaze and blaze and blaze. Come violet flame to raise and raise and raise the earth and all thereon, the earth and all thereon, the earth and all thereon. Come violet flame, now raise and raise and raise. Come violet flame to blaze and blaze and blaze the plants and elemental creatures, the plants and elemental creatures, the plants and elemental creatures. I am a being of violet fire, I am the purity God desires, I am that I am, I am that I am, I am that I am. Light set me free, light set me free, light set me free. Light I am, light I am, light I am, I am, I am. Light command, light command, light command, command, command. Light demand, light demand, light demand, demand, demand. Light expand, light expand, light expand, expand, expand. Light I am, light I am, light I am, I am, I am. Light set me free, light set me free. I am a being of violet fire, I am the purity God desires, I am that I am. I am that I am, I am that I am, I am that I am. Here and now I take my vow to be thyself. Oh, be thyself as God in me, I see thyself as God in me. A flame to keep, a flame to know, this is the life that I would know I am. That I am, oh God, I am that I am, I am that I am, I am that I am. Violet flame come forth, violet flame come forth. I command I am, I am. Seal me now in violet flame, Saint Germain, seal me now in violet flame. Fiery purple heart of Saint Germain, command all life free. Set the captives free, set the captives free, set the captives free. Now and for eternity, God, victory, faith, hope, and charity come forth. Threefold light within my heart, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, speak thy word, I would hear it, oh. God, I am, God, I am, God, I am free. I am free, oh God. Come and be in me thyself, thyself in God, in love I am, thy life, thy truth, thy way. Lord of light, would be the fullness of thyself in form and formlessness. Blaze thy violet flame through me, freedom flame, I would be, I would see to set the captives free. Set the captives, God, expand throughout the earth, expand throughout the land, expand throughout the galaxy. Blaze and sweep and burn, consume the cause and core, make darkness into light. Flame of Holy Spirit, enter now my temple. Sacred fire, burn and blaze, sacred fire, burn and blaze. Consume the cause and core in every plane of being. Let darkness be all light, let darkness be all light. Let darkness be all light. In the name of the Christ, in the name of the I am that I am, I call it forth, and I accept it done this hour in full power. I am that I am. I am that I am. Amen. 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 Om. 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 Light, I am free. Light, I am free. Light, I am free. Joy expand to every heart, to every heart. Joy expand. I am in every heart the violet flame. I move in thee, I live in thee, I am free in thee, everywhere, now and for eternity. I am a violet flame. I am a being of violet fire. I am the purity God desires. It is done, it is finished, it is sealed, I am healed, it is done, it is finished, it is sealed, I am healed, I am whole, I am one, I am love. Alpha and Omega, Alpha and Omega.
The light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is.
The light of God surrounds us.
The love of God enfolds us.
The power of God protects us.
The presence of God watches over us.
Wherever we are, God is.
And all is well.
The light of God surrounds us.
The love of God enfolds us.
The power of God protects us.
And the presence of God watches over us.
Wherever we are, God is.
And all is well.
The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. All is well.
Hi Kimberly, it's really good to have you here today. Thank you. All the way from Maiden.
Oh, such a long way, Lord.
Such a long journey with all the roadworks and everything. But anyway, let's not get into that. We're here to be positive. So it's lovely to have you here. How are you feeling today?
Really good, thank you.
Good. Well, it's brilliant to have you here. Do you want to tell us a little bit about what you do at Unity?
Yeah, well, we head up what we call Silent Unity, which is a prayer ministry, which is an international prayer ministry, and we have the headquarters in Maidenhead for the UK. So that is where people can write in, they can call us on the phone, they can email us with any requests for support that we give through prayer. It's interfaith. The only question we say, or the only thing we ask, is that they have some faith and that there's a power greater than them that they're connecting with, and that we believe where two or more are gathered, that energy multiplies and grows, and that the power of prayer really works.
Would you like to tell us a little bit of what you do at Unity so we can enlighten the public?
Absolutely. Well, there's various roles that we have at Unity. Our primary role is our prayer ministry, which sounds very sort of grand, but really if anybody wants any support in any form and they believe in a power that's greater than them that they can link to, that empowers them from within, then we're there to pray with them. And we take calls, emails, letters, and just really find a sense of connecting with them and with the power that we all live within, to enable and for healing, for abundance, for relationships, for employment, finding new homes, all the gamut of life experiences where we struggle and it doesn't seem to be flowing easy. We bring our consciousness of prayer and the knowing of a higher power at work through us and as us, and we find that blocks will clear, people find their right way forward, their health will improve. It's just so many wonderful stories we get all the time through work.
That's fantastic, that's wonderful. We were talking before with Pete, we were talking about loneliness and how isolation and loneliness is not good for us, how we're all meant to be social beings. So that's what Unity is doing. It's bringing people together, connecting us all together. So what do you actually do to help that situation?
In that regard, that would be much more with the events that we hold. We have retreats and workshops, we have services and prayer meetings, and we've opened up much more now to Zoom technology, so that people can join us from their own home. So as you say, feeling part of a community, feeling part of like-minded people that you can connect with is just a really important aspect of life today. So using Zoom, we use that for our 9 o'clock prayer services, we use it for our Sunday gatherings, all sorts of different things we put out on Zoom. We have education classes that we do that people can connect with, and done very much in discussion format. So there's a real sense of reaching out. We're not just located in Maidenhead, we are connecting with everyone, and not just in the UK, but from Europe and America too. So it's really important that we do get a sense of being connected to the presence within, connected to each other, and connected within the whole universal life energy.
That's fantastic, that's wonderful. So can you tell us a little bit about Unity, because you're not such a Christian church that works with dogma, and it's very relaxed and very full of compassion and very free. It's all about freedom, isn't it? And we're all invited there, because I mean, I'm not a Christian, I'm a Jew, and yet I feel that I fit very well into Unity. So what is different then with Unity, would you say?
Well, we do come out of Christianity. We used to be called School of Christianity, and the Fillmores that set up Unity really did believe they were Christian, but in the traditional sense, no, we're not, because we don't believe that Jesus is the only Son of God. We believe we're all children of God, and that the same energy in Jesus is potential in all of us. He realised his, we too can realise ours. So we are very open to any faith, any religion. There is no dogma, there is no creed. We do teach that the power is within, and encourage people to make that connection for themselves. It's that inner connection that changes the world and our experience around us. So it very much is about making that connection.
Which is really, really good for us to hear. It's a bit more like Buddhism in the way that a lot of people are frightened by the church, because they feel that they're going to get all these rules, and it's not about finding your inner strength. It's about actually the opposite to a certain extent. But with Unity, you're building people up. You're giving them the opportunity to connect inside to the positivity and the compassion and the love.
Absolutely.
Which is, so basically it's really good for everyone, that no matter who you are. You could be Jewish, Muslim, whatever. It's more like a philosophy, would you say?
Yes.
It can be used.
It's kind of East and West combined,
right?
Really. When the Fillmores really created Unity and got it going, they took Christianity as their teaching tool, but they took many concepts from the Far East, Buddhism, ideas of meditation and silence and stillness and compassion, and really developed those and added that and built that into their experience of Christianity, and it works.
That's lovely. And so tell us a little bit about the prayer line, because you know, when I was in the wheelchair, I used to ring it, I'd say probably every day, and I wasn't in the best of states. But it's a really good place to ring when you have got no one to talk to, because you get held by the angels of the prayer line, and I got to know all of you, and they're all very different. They're all very different, you know. But so tell us a little bit about, where does the prayer line come from? Where did it originate?
It started in America in the 1880s, late 1880s, from our co-founder Myrtle Fillmore, who healed herself of tuberculosis. And because of that healing, other people heard of the healing, and they connected her, and they wanted healing themselves. And to start off with, it was one-on-one in person like this, and she'd work with them, and they experienced healings. And then more and more people, I mean, this is before there was any media like we perceive it today, but more and more heard of it. And so they started to develop a group of people that would sit and pray together every night and connect with the names that have been shared with them, and they held them all in prayer in evening meetings. And eventually it developed and became a place that people could write to. So people would write. That was the way they could communicate then. They would write letters, and they had hundreds of thousands of letters at one point that were written in every day to Silent Unity. and it has since expanded and expanded. Obviously the telephone brought along that way that people can connect, and now it's emails. So, you know, as the technology expands, so we move with it, and people can connect with us in all those ways.
So how do people get in touch with the prayer line?
There's a website. You can go to www.unityuk.org, and on there is all the details about the prayer line. The email is silent.unity@unityuk.org.
Okay, silent.unity@unityuk.org.
And if you want the telephone number as well,
the telephone number is
01628 628 916. 01628 628 916.
That's wonderful. And if there isn't anyone actually on the line, they do get a very positive message. That will really, really help you and hold you. And I hope you take advantage of the prayer line, because without the prayer line I probably wouldn't be here after the year that I had last year. So I'm so grateful to have that. I'm so grateful to have that.
You're welcome.
I'm so grateful to have Unity here. And so you also have the Daily Word, which is a very, very positive message you can get on a daily basis. Which is, it takes a message from the Bible, it takes a phrase from the Bible, but it puts it into daily life to really, really help you, doesn't it?
It expands it very much so, and it gives the Unity take on the Bible reading as well, because so many read into the Bible of fear of God and judgment of God and punishment and sin and death. And we look at it in the opposite way. We take it what we call metaphysically, and we expand it, and we see it in a very positive, supportive, encouraging way, and everything is about the powers within us and using that power to transform our lives. So yes, daily readings, bi-monthly booklets, digitally and printed form. Yeah, we do the lot.
That's great, that's great. And you have some physical meetings. You have every third Sunday of the month?
Third Sunday at 3 at the Friends Meeting House in Maidenhead.
In Maidenhead. That's wonderful, Kimry. Thank you so much for coming on to the community show. We hope that we can help spread all this positivity and all the love, and so grateful for you for doing it. Thank you so much, and thank you for helping me. So there you go. This is Unity, Silent Unity, Kimry, and Silent Unity, and signing off from the community show. If you want to get in touch with us and come on with your wonderful positive stories or your life or anything, please email me, Lauren, Laurene, at movingontv.uk. Namaste, have a beautiful day. Thank you. You get someone that's actually in intense pain, that it's hard for them to even sit and think that they could ask their pain in. How are you going to do it? Would you do that by steps, like slowly, gently? Because
the first thing that you want to do is imagine that you're holding a sword and shield, while setting the sword and shield down, and then walking up to an imagined sacred space, the door opening, and then your issue, say, neck pain, walking through the door, and you welcome it. You say, well.
No, rien, de rien. Oh, I love you too, Marcel. Oh, bonjour, bonjour. I want to wear my face to the audience as I would a la rare. And that is why I refuse to wear the makeup and the products, not unless they are organic. Because they make me feel nude. So, come on board, organic makeup companies, movingontv.uk. Bonjour. No, rien.
Broken hearted, forgetting all the ways we used to fight. I still can see your love holding on, pushing way beyond the tears.
Arjun had raised his concern that in the battle all these people will die. Sri Krishna is giving him a different perspective. Nobody is born and nobody dies. They are all eternal. So when we say the soul is eternal, somebody can question, then what about death? At the time of death, we cease to be. He is saying, no, Arjun. Take a look at life itself. If you see your family album, there's a newborn baby. Swamiji, that is me. Then there is a 2-year-old. Swamiji, that is also me. And then there is an 8-year-old. That is also me. In the short pants. And that young adult getting married is also me. And this middle-aged person, that is also me. But how come the bodies are completely different? How can you say this is me, this is me, this is me? No. And through all these bodies there is a connection. The soul is remaining the same. Similarly, Sri Krishna says, Arjuna, at the time of death as well, the soul changes the body. Where is that body, the newborn body? It's gone. But you are not gone. Where is that 2-year-old's body? That's also gone. Medical science will tell you that your cells have a life of 7 years and then they die away. New cells take their place. In the space of 7 years, your whole body is changed. And the molecules inside the cell, they are changing even faster. Some scientists estimate that in 1 year, 98% of your molecules change. And yet you don't change. So similarly, like you have changed so many bodies in this lifetime, Arjuna, at the time of death as well, you will merely change the body. This body will be left behind, you will get a new one. Socrates, the wise old man of Greece, he used to always encourage people to think who they are. That was his primary focus of the philosophy he taught. That is why on the temple of Apollo in Delphi, there is this inscription, Notis Non. In Greek it means know thyself. A joke is related about this. That one Socrates in deep thought was walking along the market street. A policeman coming from the other side bumped into him. The policeman was indignant. He said, "Can't you see and walk? What kind of a person are you? Who are you, by the way?" Socrates responded, "Sir, for the last 40 years I've been trying to find out who I am. If you come to know, please tell me." So, Socrates would have been astonished with the answer that comes here. Sri Krishna says, you are the soul. The body undergoes the 6th transformation. It comes into existence, it is born, it grows, it maintains, it reproduces, it deteriorates and dies. The soul is beyond all these transformations. It is different from the body. One who is in knowledge, he says, is not deluded by their own death or the death of others.
Welcome to lesson 86, Easy Peasy, Course in Miracles. Again, we're still on the review. Only God's plan for salvation works. Holding grievances is an attack against God's plans for salvation. So basically, we're staying in that again. That God's plan for salvation is not all these goals that we set ourselves, not all these expectations that we have from ourselves and others, because we get let down all the time if we rely on the people, places and things. So our salvation has got to be from ourselves, from relying on ourselves, from relying on our higher power, that part of us that is capable more than we are, because holding grievances is an attack against ourselves. If we're angry, frightened, frustrated, not in the moment, then we're holding a grievances against ourselves. We're not at peace. I'm going to show you peace. See the cat, look at it. That is pure peace. I hope you can see it. I'm not hiding. Pure peace. He knows exactly how to be total 100% peaceful. You know, he does not hold grievances against anyone unless he doesn't get his favourite food. But you see, that's his expectation as a cat. He wants his own special food. I'll be talking about all of this on Awakening Together Sanctuary at 7:30 UK time. I'm just about to find out what time that is on their program, Awakening Together Sanctuary. I'll be talking about expectations and rude awakenings and grievances, and how it's been quite difficult for me since I got back from Israel, and how I'm working on staying in peace, lowering my expectations and doing my best in the moment in order to stay sane, in order to stay well, and doing a lot of forgiveness, a lot of work with the healing codes, a lot of work with the violet flame to raise the vibration and pray with the angels. So take care, have a beautiful day. Hope to speak to some of you soon. You can always look back on some of the easy peasy lessons because of the reviewers. Obviously, we've done these lessons before. Take care. Bye. Welcome to lesson 87, Course in Miracles review. I will there be light, and there is no will but God's will. I will there be light. Bring light into every situation. If you're suffering, bring the light in. If you see your fellow man in a different light, so therefore it's not working, create a beautiful light of love around them, or see them in a different light of love. What I meant there is, if you're seeing them in a way where it's upsetting you or it's coming between you, spread the light on them. See them as the Christ in the situation, the lesson, bringing you back into balance again. Explaining to you that we should not have expectations from anything or anyone. That's codependency. And the minute that we understand that our strength comes from within ourselves, that's when you find the inner peace. I've been doing a lot of healing codes again, releasing a lot of unforgiveness and harmful actions, and it's so powerful. It gets me into a vibration of love and peace. You should try it. Healing Code by Alex Lloyd, and if you want to know more about it, let me know. And I will be Skyping and teaching if anybody wants to learn more about using the healing codes, because they get you to vibration of love and peace very, very quickly. And there is no will but the will of God. Our will is to stay in the light, to be loved, to be happy, to do what we love. Don't let anybody or anything stop you from living your dream. I'm not letting that happen. I'm going out there and I'm looking at booking loads of venues next year for a tour around London. I intend to get on TV and talk shows and singing everywhere eventually. And that's it. You focus on what you can do. Contacting all these festivals and places, just follow your dreams and the rest hopefully will come. The money will come. So take care, love you lots, and have a beautiful day. Be in the light. Bye.
The light of God surrounds us.
Okay, another video today of how to manage BPD. Because it didn't work today, I didn't focus on one thing at a time. And when you don't focus on one thing at a time, your head goes everywhere and things get messed up and you get panicky. Focus on one thing at a time, okay? So have your little, whatever you need to do. So you're getting up, getting dressed, you know, your little goals, and then you say, today I wanted to go out and be in the sunshine, go to Unity. And my head was doing all the things I have to do as well. How am I going to get out into the wheelchair? How am I going to get out the door? So of course I forgot things and things got messed up. So focus on one thing at a time, and that way you'll have a lot less panic. Thank you.
Welcome to How to Stay Sane in a Crazy World. A little bit of agoraphobia, a little bit of OCD, a little bit of claustrophobia. That's BPD. A little or a lot of depression, laced with it's all about me. Narcissism. A couple of Tourette's. Now what comes next? Oh yes, that's BPD. A little bit of autism, a little bit of AD or ADHD, a touch of paranoia. Are you looking at me? That's BPD. Let's add in schizoid tendencies and make it all about me. Yes, narcissism. Woo! A spoon of manic states, got a lot on our plates. With a monkey brain I cannot train. That's BPD. Hope I haven't upset anyone. You still there? That's BPD. Come and see the show, starting at Wickham Arts Centre, 29th of November, 7:30 p.m, the Green Room. Looking forward to seeing you. movingontheatre.co.uk.
Hi guys, welcome to day one of BPD management. I don't know what to call it yet, so I'll come up with a name. But just a short little video of how to manage this condition if you were diagnosed and how I manage it on a day-to-day basis. So I'm going to say, to me, the first thing that I'm going to say today is passion. Have a passion for something. Have a passion for something that is stronger than your panic, than your stress, something you believe in, something you love. For me, it's the stage, performing and supporting the human race and doing what I can to get the message out there that I manage BPD without medication. That's it. That's the message for today. Find a passion. So whether you want to paint, whether you want to draw, whether you want to look after animals, whether you want to go back to college, your passion, yours, no one else's, but yours. I've had a passion since I was a child and I never followed it, and then I got sick. So that's what happened. So now I'm following my passion and doing my best, even in a wheelchair. So find your passion, and you will have an easier life, and a lot of the BPD symptoms will start to disappear. That's one of the things you can do. Find your passion, and then what do you do after that? You set tiny, tiny little goals to achieve it. That's all. Tiny goals to achieve your passion. If you want more help, you can always contact me on donation basis. We can do live coaching and I will help you. Take care, love you lots, and I hope you enjoy the little vid for today. Pass it on. Bye. Hi guys, it's Lauren Hope here from Moving On TV. Do you know that a lot of mental illness and depression is caused because of lack of creativity? Because creativity is what we are. It's what we are. It's part of our breathing. You know, I've been singing since I was 6 years old, performing since I was 6 years old, and I haven't been able to get on the media. And so I got seriously depressed and seriously ill. Now it's all going to change with Moving On TV. We're creating a TV station for everyone, no matter who you are, you're unique. And I'm asking the media to put me on to perform everywhere, and particularly BBC, because we do pay your license, you know. We have a right to go on. So watch out. Here comes Lauren Hope, bringing the hope back into your lives. Bye.
Nothing in your life is ever easy.
Guys, welcome to Moving On TV and to Borderline Personality Disorder Awareness Month. I decided to do this little public relation talk, and I hope you really listen to it or watch it. As Moving On TV has become a CIC, a community interest company, it's for you, for the vulnerable, for all of us. Why are so many people being diagnosed with mental illness? What is mental illness? Does it even exist? Or is it that there just is not enough love in our world? Could that be it? And could it be that people are just being put into so much pressure, these little boxes to perform, to be what society wants them to be? People that are being diagnosed have all been abused as children. I was one of them. They've been hurt by society. Society can be cold and unloving if you haven't had the right parents, if you haven't been brought up with love and support. And then you go out into the wide world and you carry on being abused, so to speak. So you don't have the house, you don't have the children, you don't have the job, and there's nowhere to work because you're stigmatized or whatever. You're too young, you're too old, you're too fat, you're too whatever. Is that why people are being pigeonholed and called mentally ill? Why? Could it be that they're just people that are just not loved? People that society just doesn't care about, and they have to give them a label so they can give them loads and loads of medication and throw them away in the bin, so to speak. You know, in the old days, they used to throw people like me in bins and do lobotomies and electric shocks and God knows what, but not much has changed. They still arrest us on the streets 23 times a year, some of us naked, because we cannot conform to being what they want to be. We're not bad people. We're not criminals. We just have had no love. That's all. You know, I was one of the lucky ones. I went into the therapeutic community. I got a lot of inner peace. But what happens when you come back out into the world, eh? It's like, what happens when that bird flies off out of the nest? It all starts again, guys. Because there's nothing. There's no work and there's not enough love. There's not enough love. Can you imagine a society where everybody was loving and compassionate and there was no pressure on you to pay taxes and huge amounts of money for rent and food, where money didn't exist even? And I'm not saying this because I'm mentally ill. I'm saying it because I really do believe it. And I don't think mental illness is the issue here. I just think that if we shared our world, if there was less greed and more love and more compassion and acceptance of ourselves and others, if we loved ourselves, because society tells us we're rubbish, because we've been thrown away, we've been touched, we've been damaged from the time we were 3 years old, 10 years old, touched by men and women that really were very, very sick people and obviously had no love themselves. And it goes on and on and on and on. Isn't it time to stop it? I hope you're listening to this as it's Borderline Personality Awareness Month this month. And I want this to go everywhere. I don't think mental illness exists. It's just that we don't live up to what society expects of us. We can't cope with all the loss and the death and the sadness and the lack of work and the stigma. In my situation, I wasn't allowed to adopt, even though I've been well for 6 years. Society does not give us a chance. But I'm giving everyone a chance. Moving On TV is your TV station. It's a community interest company. It's for the vulnerable. There's nothing for us, guys. You're lucky if you get a program like WMAP and a wonderful man like Casey Armstrong. He's invaluable. He's an angel, because this does not exist. So you have to go out and create the love in your life like I have. You have to go out and you have to make a list of all the things you love and do them. Do them and meditate. And if you don't have a family that loves you, because my family don't love me, go out and create a new family. Meet new friends, your soul friends. That's all I can tell you. And you'll fail and you'll have breakdowns like I do on and off. And you'll be on the floor cuddled up into a little fetus shape like I do, because I miss my father and because I have no family and because I had no kids and because society doesn't want to give me work and because yada 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 yada, and how do you pay the rent? So come to me to Moving On TV. Let's fix things together. I love you guys. And as I say, mental illness is not a stigma. And a lot of artists like us get diagnosed. Why do you think we get diagnosed? Because they won't give us any work. The media will not let us on. It'll only let on celebrities and famous people. And there's a hole in our hearts where we need to be singing and performing and doing what we love. Why don't we have a right to shine like everybody else? You tell me that. So that's why I'm telling you all of this. I don't believe that mental illness is real. It's not like a broken bone or something like that. Mental illness is the product of what we've been through in our lives. It's the nurture, not the nature. You could be born with some kind of genetic thing, but if you're loved and loved and loved and loved and loved, and you can fit what society wants, you will not get a label of a mental illness. You will not get borderline personality disorder, complex needs disorder, Everybody's walking around with complex needs disorder. Every single person is codependent on drink or drugs or their children or their job or whatever. Everyone, you take that away from them, there's nothing left. It's true. So you have to find something that makes you want to get up in the morning. And that's what I found in moving on TV. And that's what I found in my theatre and singing. But I'm asking you to give me the possibilities and opportunities to talk, to sing, to earn a living. God, if there was no money in this world, I wouldn't need to earn a living. I would do this anyway, because I love you guys. Love is the most important thing to me. So I hope this message gets into your heart, and I hope that we can all do it together. Bringing the hope back into our lives. Come on board the Moving On TV CIC. Bring your talents, bring your presenting skills, bring everything, because you are wanted. I want you. I love you. You are not stigmatized. You are perfect the way you are. Love you lots. And if you go out and get into a therapeutic community, do your work, guys. But you know, when you come out of there, you will have to learn how to stay in love with life, as I said. And bit by bit, I can teach you this on Moving On TV. Bit by bit, we can learn together how to heal our world and how to have a better life. I love you lots, and I hope this goes out everywhere, and we can stay in touch with what we really are, love. And also, I want to do a program called Love Changes Everything. It's not a song, it's just watching two children and how their lives would be if they were loved. One will be loved and the other won't. Will the mental illness progress and progress and progress from abuse and sadness and wars? Yeah, sounds familiar? Love you lots. Love each other, accept each other, be kind to each other, and try to let go of the high standards that your parents and society has set for you. And then you can stay well 98% of the time, like I do, because I'm human. Bye. Moving On TV, bringing the hope back into your lives. Lauren at movingontv.uk. Lauren with an E at movingontv.uk. Let's celebrate instead of commiserating. There we go. Welcome to Moving On TV. Do you love animals? We do. I just showed you Peace and Ellie, my cats. But if you love animals, and you love humans, of course, you're the kind of sponsor that we would be proud to have on board Moving On TV. The only sponsors that we would even think about having on board Moving On TV are sponsors that are enhancing the environment, enhancing life, enhancing humanity. They never use chemicals in any way, shape or form, not in hair products, facial products, organic only. That's the only thing that touches this skin. No one guesses my age.
because I never ever use anything but pure organic makeup and products on this beautiful shell. I'm healthy in mind, body, spirit, because I never eat anything if it's got any kind of chemical or if it's not pure. So come on board Moving On TV if you are one of us. If you're starting with a new product that you want to get out there to enhance society, to enhance humanity, to enhance animals. Maybe you're doing a new pet food for animals without chemicals. We will welcome you on here, whoever you are, as long as you love animals and people as much as we do. You can contact me on movingontv1@gmail.com, 07437 532 798. Email me, I just said it. We are Moving On TV, the new TV station that brings you the hope and the glory, and I am the proud CEO, Lauren Hope Glory, moving on with all of you into a beautiful new world together. I love you. Namaste. Welcome to Moving On TV. Thank you. Bye.
the neurology of the brain, it's that we're not got transmitters transmitting thoughts. We're transmitting particles of pure golden, lovely light.
We think we're this, but what we really are, we're criticizing planets. We're water, we're oxygen, we're everything that the planet is, we're every single herb, the planet is us. We are earth, we are water, we are air.
Yeah,
The reason that people don't feel well is because they're not experiencing what they really are. They think they're just this. But we have this to get us through the life that we have. We have this. We have our skeletal system. Love your bones.
Right. Ready. So you could just take us on a little guided meditation of what it is.
Okay.
What is it you wish for people today for their bodies? What do you wish them to nourish and feel?
Are we ready?
Ready? Ready?
You're ready. Welcome. Okay. Today we're going to do some deep healing. Today we're going to do something that you've probably never done before. Today we're going to go beyond the body, beyond the muscles. We're going to go to the parts of the body. Parts of the body that work for us day and night, that keep us standing, that
Beautiful
keep us
sun.
moving, keep us strong, keep us warm. The bones. I want you to imagine the golden lights surrounding you. I want you to imagine turmeric and ginger inside this light. And gold, pure gold. There is a substance called gold that you can actually take.
Monotony.
Gold, ginger, turmeric. Sunflowers that come. That is what your bone needs. That beautiful heat. And sunshine. I want you to breathe. Deep breath. And I want you to breathe in that orange. Imagine it's getting into every single bone in your body. Forget about the muscles. We're going deeper today. See yourself as a skeleton sitting here. There's your skeleton. Cranium. Your spine. Your cervical spine. Your iliac, your spine. Your coccyx. Your lumbar. Feel that orange now. Getting into your cranium. Into the bones. Into all the every single finger. You've got loads and loads of bones in the body. There's God knows how many. And into your massive, beautiful skeletal system. Your beautiful, beautiful spine. This is orange expanding
breathe in. The more you're doing the massaging, the more you breathe in, the more you become a conduit to allow the heat to come through your hands. It's not just physical, it's energetic as well, it's particle, it's quantum.
Exactly. You don't even have to touch the body.
More,
But the bones love turmeric, ginger, sunshine, warmth. It doesn't even have to be the sun. It's just the warmth of the sun, a beautiful natural sensation, a warm bath, a warm, put something warm, a warm water bottle, not aggressive, not heat, not beauty, just warm, balanced, beautiful warmth. Let it come through your hands, therapist. See that beautiful turmeric and ginger going into that person. You will get like 1,000,000% extra success with your work. Because you will be working inside that person's body as well as on the outside of your body.
And even when you speak, you'll be speaking vibrational particles of turmeric, ginger, the sun. It comes out through your eyes, it comes out through every aspect of your being. It's a vibration. Ginger, turmeric, every single thing is a vibration.
Right? And let me tell you that when you start, this is for people and human rights, every chance you get, go out into the sun. Even if we have like 2 minutes, you don't have to sit there and burn your skin and burn your body. You just want to breathe in that warmth. That's it. Breathe in the warmth because your bones are craving warmth. Your bone marrow is saying, it's like a jacket. We're building that jacket. You're knitting a new jacket for your body. You're healing the bone marrow. You're healing what is covering your bones. Protect yourself. Love yourself. And just feel that amazing ginger and turmeric. I can see it everywhere. People,
Yeah.
see it everywhere. Look at the lights.
Look at that light. Look at that.
Sun is everywhere.
Breathe it in. It's all about your breath. Breathe it in. Let every particle in your body reflect that you're a being of light. The more you're breathing in, the more you're feeling, the more you're opening up particles of your body. You're going from a 5-watt bowl to a 20-watt bowl, so you can pour more light in, so you can then feel more dark, so you can change and transist more dark by pulling in this light and bringing light to it, and then expelling and sharing that light. Let every particle of your being just express and embody full light.
All your body, let it flow. Because all we are is oxygen and water. Let it flow.
Let your
into you.
Yeah,
That's all we are.
let your body become a conduit. Let the water be a conduit for them particles of light, so every single cell reflects the other cell. Like the neurology of the brain, it said we're not got transmitters transmitting thoughts, we're transmitting particles of pure golden lovely light.
We think we're this, but what we really are, we're criticizing planet. We're water, we're oxygen, we're everything that the planet is, we're every single herb, the planet is us, we are earth, we are water, we are air.
Yeah,
The reason that people don't feel well is because they're not experiencing what they really are. They think they're just this. But we have this to get us through the life that we have. We have this. We have our skeletal system. Love your bones. Hold them, caress them, just caress your bones. Literally. I love you. I love you. Do you know how many little tiny little bones are in your body? Do you know how incredible this body is? You created this incredible thing that
walks, dances. Have you ever looked at an acrobat? How they use that skeletal system? How it bends and moves. I broke my leg 4 years ago. I was in a wheelchair. But because nature is so incredible, it's all knitted together. Without any medicine, just with the mind and with love, and it's all knitted together into one. This is what we tend to forget. This, the bones. And I'm telling you, therapists, if you work with the intention of now getting into those bones, you will get like your success rates. People will be walking out and they will literally, their pain will start to disappear. Fibromyalgia does not exist. It's like a symptom of muscles. The muscles have always been at the top of the
the neurology of the brain, it's that we're not got transmitters transmitting thoughts, we're transmitting particles of pure golden lovely light.
We think we're this, but what we really are, we're just like a planet. We're water, we're oxygen, we're everything that the planet is, we're every single herb, the planet is us. We are earth, we are water, we are air.
Yeah,
the reason that people don't feel well is because they're not experiencing what they really are. They think they're just this. But we have this to get us through the life that we have. We have this. We have our skeletal system. Love your bones. Hold them, caress them, just caress your bones. Literally. I love you. I love you. Do you know how many little tiny little bones are in your body? Do you know how incredible this body is? You created this incredible thing that stands up, walks, dances. Have you ever looked at an acrobat? How they use that skeletal system? How it bends and moves. I broke my leg 4 years ago. I was in a wheelchair. But because nature is so incredible, it's all knitted together. Without any medicine, just with the mind and with love, and it's all knitted together into one. This is what we tend to forget. This, the bones. And I'm telling you, therapists, if you work with the intention of now getting into those bones, you will get like your success rates. People will be walking out and they will literally, their pain will start to disappear. Fibromyalgia does not exist. It's like a symptom of muscles. The muscles have always been at the top of the sit in the sand. Bury yourself in the sand. Cover yourself in
But then
sand.
look at it outside there today. Why don't you just go even out the front door? Right now, go out the front door. Look at that out there. Get out there right now.
Why do you think women go and put mud on their face?
Yeah.
Why do you think they have mud baths in the old days, like Cleopatra? Because of the oxygen. Earth. Everything is here for you. You don't need anything else. You don't need to pop millions of pills. Sorry, but it's true. You don't need anything. All you need is oxygen, water. I mean, look at me when I go to Lanzarote. I shine. Why do you think I shine? Because my bones are warm. And it's not even, the sun doesn't have to shine. I can lie there on the beach and the warmth. That's the answer. The warmth. The warmth in the air. And if you're not lucky enough to live in a warm country, then you just need to visualize. You just need to breathe. And imagine that ginger, that turmeric is going in. Oxygen, expanding, 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 expanding. I remember there was a film called The Lovely Bones.
The Lovely Bones.
The Lovely Bones.
There's actually a great song from that film.
There's a film called The Lovely Bones, and you know, this came to me years ago, and I did a 10-day retreat in Amaravati, and I was in pain, and I started meditating, and something said to me, go inside your bones, because you know, if you don't love something, or if you don't love something, what happens?
It don't love you, does it?
It hurts you, doesn't it? It hurts you. So if you go around and you've forgotten how to love a certain part of you, you know, if we get pain, we berate the body and say the body, tell the body off.
The meditation is called Deep Meditation and Self-Knowledge, and it's a technique that was born in Italy about 40 years ago. And I've been practicing it now for maybe 12-13 years, and I've been teaching it for the past 4 or 5 years, mainly in the High Wycombe area. So relax, take time, take time. Your day is, part of it is meant for you to relax. It's meant for you to learn how to create chemicals in your body that are the good chemicals. And then you've got the best way. The best way, absolutely, which is meditation. You know what meditation is? Great. What is meditation? Way that can be called meditation is to sit down and observe your breath. So we are breathing all the time, but usually we don't We don't remember that we're breathing, we don't notice that we're breathing, we don't care that we're breathing even. So if we sit down and we start to just close our eyes if we want and observe that the breath is going in and is coming out. Is going in and is coming out. Something magic happens in our chemistry lab. Why? I don't know why. I don't think anybody knows why. But as soon as you start observing your breath, it's magic.
So do you want to tell us how this type of meditation differs from any other kind of meditation that people do?
Meditation can differ quite a bit in their techniques. Their objectives are all quite similar, which is the well-being of the person that practices meditation, as well as expanding that well-being to the people that are near you, because we do contage with our state of being what is around us. And also finding out our nature, our deepest nature behind what we normally think during our day, what we feel. So there's something deeper to a human being which meets the eye. So this technique helps to bring focus to this inner part, as well as to find out how our mind works, how our emotions work. And that's it. It was meant to be a very short talk. What I wanted to propose was to do just 2 or 3 minutes of closing our eyes and observing our breath. Just to try it. Not for long, a couple minutes, especially the children. If you want to.
Yeah, of course. So that's what they're talking about.
Yeah, of course. Well, you can do what you usually do for 2-3 minutes. Or you can just close your eyes and do what you want. So let's just close our eyes. And first, let's just listen to what's going around us. There's bells, there's maybe cars, there's people walking, moving, and there's our body. And our body is breathing through all of this. It's breathing in and out. Slowly move our attention from everything that's going outside to this breath, this air that is moving in and out.
How long have you been doing this?
I've been practicing for the past 13 years.
13?
Yes.
Okay.
I've went to several of the introductory courses and the more advanced courses, as well as long periods of retreat on my own. And I've been teaching it for the past 4 years.
So much, Ignatius.
Thank
It's
you.
been wonderful talking to you, and we look forward to hearing more about you. And if you want to get in touch with Ignacio, he's given you a meetup group, and also the Facebook group, and also an email address. Thank you for tuning into the community show, and I'm glad we've got the bells at the moment. I don't know if we'll actually pick it up, but we've got the beautiful church bells going in the background because we're in the centre of High Wycombe, luckily, which is an amazing place to be. So thank you very much for tuning in. This is Lauren, Hope and Ignacio Dinitechi. I got it right. On Moving On TV and the Community Show. Thank you. Goodbye. Welcome to Moving On TV, the new TV channel for us.
Shouted from the rooftops that there is a service on our beautiful NHS that I'm so proud of, and we're all very proud to have. It's free, guys. And you know what, when I ask someone, do you know what a therapeutic community is, they'll go blank. Nobody knows it even exists. So I'm here to tell you that if you know anyone, one of your colleagues or your friends or your family or yourself, and they've given you that label, borderline personality disorder, be as lucky as I was and ask your doctor. They told me, because I wouldn't take medication, ask them, can I please try what Lauren tried? The
thoughts I have of you, you're always on my mind, circling round my brain, it happens all the time. I close my eyes and a vision will appear. Wish that you were next to me, but you're no longer here. Wish we were together, not all alone.
Hey guys, welcome to my story in Simply Amazing, the book. Hi there, I'm Lauren. I'm very happy to be here. About 10 years ago, I was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder, a complex needs disorder, the doctor said. The way I can express it is I wrote a bit of a song about it called the BPD song. a little bit of agoraphobia, a little bit of OCD, a little bit of claustrophobia. That's BPD. A little or a lot of depression, laced with it's all about me. Narcissism, a couple of Tourette's. Now what comes next? That's BPD. Doom, doom, doom. Anyway, you get the gist. This is a condition with lots and lots of symptoms. Lots of symptoms called complex needs disorder or borderline personality disorder. Now, my unique story is that I would not take medication. Now, don't get me wrong, you can take medication if you want. My story is that I didn't want to. And I was very lucky to be offered the therapeutic community for 18 months, 3 days a week, and to go in there and to do my work and to figure out what made me sick in the first place. And in this community, the first thing you get is a validation bell. So when you need to be validated, if you're triggered, you ring the bell. You get 24-hour support system. You get so many things that you don't get in society. You learn how to live in this world. You get the structure of the work and running the community. And after a year, actually, it did its magic. I had a massive awakening where I realized that a child, a 10-year-old or 11-year-old child, is not to blame for anything. I had a massive awakening where I woke up one night and asked my husband not to send me back there. And I realized that I had asked my parents not to send me back to the person that was actually abusing me, the dentist. And that's my awakening. I got 100% inner peace, 100%. I had connected to the little child and I had forgiven. And then I came out in 2012, made a children's piece film with 1,000 kids, started moving on theatre, started to tour as Piaf. No, rien de rien. Won awards, couldn't get on the media, so started my own TV station, moving on TV. Got on with it. Was in a wheelchair for 2 years after my father died and my family cut me off. And that's when I met Casey. And he said to me, Lauren, you didn't have a pity party. You got on with it. You made films to help other people, which is true. I taught myself how to edit, and now I run Moving on TV. And if you want to come on there, it's for you. It's unique. It's for everyone. There's no violent, no bad language, no swearing, no sex, everything, only for the public, no watershed. So you can read more about me in my amazing chapter with interviews from Casey that is going in the book, www.simplyamazingbook.com. Invite me to talk, to sing about this incredible recovery and the therapeutic community that is free on the NHS.
The thoughts I have of you, you're always on my mind. Circling round my brain, it happens all the time. I close my eyes and a vision will appear. Wish that you were next to me, but you're no longer here. Wish we were together, not all alone. Wish we were together, not all alone. The anger you display, I really cannot take. Want to break the barriers that you and I would make. There'll always be a part of you down deep inside. In the corners of my heart, you're always on my mind. Wish we were together, not all alone. Wish we were together, not all alone. I try to follow all the cycles of the night. Up and down the feelings go, I know it is right. Reaching out to touch your love, but emptiness is here. Wish that you were here again. You'll always be there.
Thank you, Rachel. You're right. There's no sound. What I am going to do is read my story. I am chapter 8 in Simply Amazing. And if people want to know a little bit about my story, then, as you know, I always do whatever Spirit tells me to do. Whatever comes into my mind, I'll do it. And I feel directed to give you a little bit of my story of recovery, of what happened to me, and why I am so well, and why I never use medication, and just a little bit. I mean, we could even read a story, a chapter, maybe once a week or something, or maybe every day, for you to get to know this book. I have no interest in you going out and buying the book, but I want you to learn. Thank you, Rachel. I want you to learn as much as possible about how to be happy, how to stay sane in this crazy world, and I have a lot to teach. So let's open chapter 8. Lauren Hope, who is now Lauren Hope Glory. As I added the glory, someone suggested that I call myself Lauren Glory. And I thought, nah, I can't call myself Lauren Glory. You've got to have the hope first. And then when you get the hope, then you get the glory. Do you know what I mean? The hope is your first step. You can't get the glory until you get the hope. So the hope is your first step. You have to have that first step, don't you? And that is hope. And to me, hope is the most important thing in the world. Without hope, you can't get up in the morning. And so I suggest that you learn how to have hope first and then cultivate the glory of your life. This is not religious, but that's what I thought I would say. Anyway, this is the introduction to my chapter. And Casey wrote it, and I'm very, very grateful. And it did quite well, actually, when it was released in 2018? We've lost so much time. I think it was 2018. Right. Here goes. Lauren Hope is a beautiful, talented artist and performer from the United Kingdom. One of our very first guests in the new studio. I remember we were having technical difficulties the day she first called in, but I actually had to hook up my phone to the board to complete the interview. Lauren was such a good sport, patient, understanding, and above all, entertaining. Besides her incredible vocal talent and community station Living on TV, Lauren has accomplished what few have. She has overcome BPD, borderline personality disorder, without the use of prescription drugs. While this approach may not work for everyone, Lauren devoted herself to the Aylesbury therapeutic community and worked relentlessly to learn about her affliction and to come to terms with the many setbacks in her life. She's been so successful in taking control of her own health that she speaks and shares information to help other people do the same. Lauren has even flown to the US to visit us here in WMAP twice. She's a favorite at the station and a WMAP ambassador whenever she goes. Our listeners especially love her ethereal rendition of Danny Boy and the mashup we made of her original I Wish You Peace with a piano rendition of Rammstein's Winder Wine. I think above all else, I admire Lauren's courage. She battled and overcame the sorrows of abuse and abandonment to find her own health, happiness, and creativity. And she sacrifices her own privacy to tell others about her complicated illness so they can learn from her ongoing journey. Now, it's quite a while since we did this. I do not believe BPD is an illness. I believe that every single person is walking around with it. It's a complex needs disorder, and that's what my show, How to Stay Sane in a Crazy World, is about. That every single one of you has got this condition, one way or another. You're walking around with it, particularly because of the lockdowns and what we're going through. Right. This is done in the form of an interview. So Casey, hey guys, this is WMAP, the world's most amazing people. I'm excited. I've got to tell you, I've got some great guests here in WMAP, but there's one person that very quickly became a fan favorite because of her honesty, the challenges that she overcame, and her motivation. I'm talking about Lauren Hope, an inspiration and a friend. Lauren is a best-selling author, artist, life coach, speaker, and founder of Moving On TV and Moving On Theatre. She has extensive training as a classical singer and is a great proponent of the therapeutic community and shares her experience of meeting the challenges of borderline personality disorder without medication. We've got so much to talk about here, Lauren. Are you ready for this? With me. Hi, Casey. It's 1:30 a.m. in England. So after a crazy, crazy day with the weather, I'm ready to pass on details of my recovery with hope and compassion so people know they aren't alone with their problems. Casey, I can't wait to share your story here because it's just so incredible. And what you've done with your life, with your career, and your views towards other human beings are amazing. I think you're awesome. Lauren, thank you. It takes one to know one, Casey Armstrong. Casey, thanks, Lauren. Well, let's get some background and discuss your healing within the therapeutic community and how it changed your life completely. To start at the very beginning, you were born in Israel? Oh, no. I was born in Ireland, in Dublin, the city where the girls are so pretty. Hang on, I just want to put something on the chat for Facebook. Into my book. My chapter 8 of the book. Simply amazing. Which I am reading on here now. So everyone gets to understand my recovery story. Sorry, there goes the webcam. There goes the webcam. Right. So I'm going to put that out on Facebook, see if anybody wants to watch. Okay. So, Casey, but you moved a lot, didn't you? Tell me about that, Lauren. Well, I was born in Dublin as a third-generation Jew. My family originally came from Russia, but then we moved to Israel when I was 7. I suppose my parents wanted to bring up their children as good Jews in Israel, but the move was a terrible shock to my system because I was a very sensitive child. I'm an empath, yeah. An empath. A very sensitive child. Right. Casey, you were very sensitive, but maybe part of that was because you had borderline personality disorder, or is it bipolar, Lauren? Casey, bipolar and borderline personality disorder are completely different illnesses. Borderline personality disorder, BPD, is actually referred to as complex needs disorder. Now, because it incorporates a mix, so many different types of so-called mental illnesses, and I'm adding that now because I don't believe anymore in BPD as a mental illness. It's a conglomerate, like it's the fibromyalgia of the brain. That's how I see it, all right? So complex needs disorder, because it incorporates so many different types of mental illness. It's like a mix of every condition, a bit of OCD, a bit of depression and more. Anyway, to answer your question, I wasn't diagnosed properly until about 10 years ago, and that would be now 20 years ago. Although subtle signs like the sensitivity were always there. No, what am I talking about? I was diagnosed in 2010, 10 years ago. Like the sensitivity were always there. I'd never heard of it before. I just knew I was getting very, very sick. My mother had died. I couldn't perform anywhere. I was feeling lost. I didn't know how to get on with people and work with them. And bit by bit, my whole life just fell apart. My husband started working lots of difficult shifts and I couldn't cope. I don't have children. I'm not performing. I'd lost my mum. That was a big hole to deal with. Casey, didn't you tell me she was very unloving towards you? Lauren, my mother, bless her, was a very unhappy woman who wasn't capable of giving much love. Unfortunately, when we went to Israel, she became increasingly difficult. But quite honestly, I forgave my mum. I think she had serious BPD. Casey, okay. And that can actually include bipolar traits like the extreme highs and lows, right? Yes, Casey, that's right. BPD is a mix of many different mental conditions, so it doesn't fit a specific limited profile. You know, the rage I experienced drove people away from me. I was actually arrested on the street once while having a panic attack because the police didn't have a clue what to do with me. I was crying and they said, if you don't stop, we'll cuff you. And that's what they did. They threw me in a cell, told me I was mad and that I was going to kill myself. I didn't know what they were talking about. I was panicking and I was scared. So this was my life before I went into the therapeutic community. I was getting very sick, but I've never tried to self-harm. I developed an eating disorder as a child after my molestation, which was awful, but I've never ever tried to commit, but I can't say on it. Casey, Lauren, let me stop you for a second because there are so many things we need to discuss. We can't go forward until you explain what you just mentioned about your molestation. Can we talk about that? You told me off air it took place at a dentist's office. Yes, Casey. I was between the ages of 11 and 12. This happened at the dentist. Mum and Dad were working all the time. They neglected my sister and me, but I'm not blaming anyone. As I said, things were different then. They were very poor. They didn't know any better. They just sent their daughter to the dentist. Right, a parent doesn't think a child would be harmed there. Of course not, Casey. But this dentist stuck his tongue down my throat and touched me all over. Thank God I wasn't RAPED. But he did go through a lot. I did go through a lot. And as I said, I was very sensitive to begin with. At some point, I left the office, but I went back. I had to do a lot of work on that to try and figure out why a child would go back to a molester. It was because I thought I killed him. Casey, did you know what was happening to you and that it was wrong? Lauren, I didn't understand what was going on. I was in total shock. I tried to explain to Mum and Dad. I told them the dentist kisses me, but you know, in Israel, everyone hugs and touches. And my dad didn't understand what I was telling him, Casey. So you didn't go into more detail, just that he kissed you? Lauren, yeah, but it's very important to understand how a child's mind works, okay? This lunatic, this dentist, was having an orgasm. And as a child, I thought he was dying. I ran out. I thought I'd killed him, Casey. I remember living with that fear, so I went back. And the minute he opened the door and I saw he was okay, I felt trapped. I felt like I had to stay because my parents told me I had to go there. Can you imagine? They just kept sending me back. I carried the guilt of these experiences in my little heart for years and years. It wasn't until I started training in Reiki with my ex-husband and doing a lot of work on myself that I jumped up suddenly one day and thought, oh my God, I was abused. Casey, Lauren, this happened when you were 11 or 12. Did that affect how you related to the opposite sex? That's about the time school dances and boy-girl socializing start. Were you able to trust the boys around you, Lauren? Oh, I couldn't. See, I couldn't deal with my horrible experience. This is the thing. I numbed it out completely. When my parents realized something was wrong, they took me away from it. But then we never talked about it. My dad would say, we're not going to say anything to upset your mother. That's how I grew up. You mustn't upset the dragon in the house, which she was. Bless her heart. Mum was a wonderful teacher, but an absolute lunatic. Dad was like a mouse around her. He just said, we've taken you away from the dentist now, end of, nothing. Casey, there was no therapy. There was no talking. I had no one. So I turned to food. Casey, you turned to food and blocked out the whole painful experience. I don't know if I've been watching too much Law and Order, but I've heard if you block something like that out, it could lead to borderline personality or other mental disorders. Is there truth for that, Lauren? Of course. Because I had blocked this all out, the therapeutic community later had to make me feel like a tiny child again. That's the process. They take you back, and that's when the magic happens. Suddenly, I felt the pain that I'd never felt, and I realized it had nothing to do with me. My mum and dad were the idiots who sent me back there. I finally found inner peace because I had thought it had been my fault. Everything was my fault, especially since I upset my mum and dad. My dad used to say, you're giving your mother a heart attack. You're not allowed to be unhappy. You have to be a good girl. You mustn't cry because you're going to give your mother a heart attack. You know, my mother died of cancer at 80. No one ever had a heart attack. And I was Dad's aggravation. It was all me. Everything was me, apparently. Casey, terrible. You thought everything that went wrong was your fault, and yet you had to put on a happy face for your mother or risk displeasing your dad. What a painful way to grow up. Casey, my parents weren't cruel people. They were just very tired, very drained, very stressed out, and very, very confused. Dad had PTSD from the war and from growing up in an orphanage, and Mum grew up in a very, very cold household. So all my family are mad, you know? They're all screwed up, bless them. Casey, I love that you're able to talk about all this with so much honesty, but also with your great sense of humor. Apparently, you've done a lot of work. I would assume that was really hard when you had to go back and relive these things. Lauren, well, the work I did was nearly 2 years in the therapeutic community. It was a nightmare because I didn't know I was doing something wrong when I started there. Everyone comes in with their problems and starts triggering everyone else all over the place. A lot of them got into groups, they pushed me out. It was like I was the scapegoat, but I was also creating my own pain. I mean, there were scenarios where I would say something cruel and everyone would run out crying. I didn't know what I said to make everyone upset because I had no empathy then whatsoever, Casey. Well, nobody showed you any, so how could you understand empathy or compassion? Lauren, exactly. I never experienced unconditional love from my parents or my family. My mother used to actually make fun of me for my eating disorder. She didn't have a clue, and there was no empathy at home. I felt completely alone with only food, singing, and my accordion for comfort. Music was a very creative outlet. Do you think that's why you're such a great performer, Lauren? Maybe performance is your way of communicating with people you don't know, a way of gaining acceptance. Does that make any sense? Me. I'll tell you why I'm a good performer now. It's because I got sick. Right? Without that, I don't think I could have gotten to the level of feeling to put into a show like Piaf and Love Conquers All by Roger Peace. You can't show all that emotion without having gone through the depth of pain I've gone through. And I could do the breakdowns on the stage instead of on the street. And people would applaud me for doing the same thing. Casey, I know you've received much praise for your work. Didn't you have a standing ovation on the very day your father died? Lauren, yes, I did. I was notified that my dad had fallen and my family was just allowing him to die. You wouldn't believe what I had to look at, what I watched. They took all his medication away from him. When my husband and I went to see him, there was no food. When I went to Israel to take care of him, I sat with Dad, got him out of bed and sang to him. I taught him how to talk again. It took me a long time to understand him, but by that time I loved my dad so much. He thrived because I gave him continuous love. He used to Skype me in England and cry sometimes. Martin and I celebrated his 95th birthday with him. Dad would have been 100 this year, 100. And a few days before we returned to Brighton from Israel, he said, when you go, I'll die quickly. I told him I loved him and forgave him and gave him my blessings. He went within a few days. Casey, I'm sorry to hear that, Lauren, but you both found love and peace with each other in the end. How did the ovation come about, Lauren? What happened is Dad died that morning while I was in Brighton, and I just didn't know what to do. And then I thought, what would Piaf or Maria Callas do? In the show, Maria Callas, Piaf performs the night that the love of her life, Marcel, was killed in a plane crash. I thought to myself, well, Piaf could go on, so can I go on. And Dad always told me the show must go on. He told me that many times. Casey, he guided you in that decision, Lauren. He always said that. And so I went on. And I did the show of my life because I was raw. My dad had just died that day. When I cried, it was for real. And when I sang, well, I got a 5-star review, the strongest review you can get in Brighton. And at the end, the people were cheering, and I got a standing ovation. Casey, it's kind of funny. I should tell the audience that Lauren and I have a personal relationship. We talk all the time. Right before the interview, I wasn't really feeling well, and I said to Lauren, you know, the show must go on. I didn't know that saying such has an important place in your life, Lauren. Lauren, yes, Casey, it's amazing. You should say that, Casey. So, Lauren, so far it seems like you had an awful lot of adversity growing up. Your mother didn't know how to show love. Your dad and your mum both put you, although unknowingly, into danger. Not only did they not get you help with your terrifying experience, but it sounds like they just wanted you to be quiet and move on like it never happened. So you developed an eating disorder and eventually lost both your parents. So much more than anyone should ever have to go through. But you keep mentioning this therapeutic community, which gave you your life back. Please tell us more about that, Lauren. Well, it wasn't until I entered a mental health group called the Therapeutic Community that I began to learn how to work with people and just so much more. I knew I had a mental health issue, and a psychiatrist offered me the opportunity to join this fabulous community when I told her I refused to be medicated. I was put in a group of about 20 seriously people with conditions, and we were pretty much supposed to help run the group ourselves and support each other. We actually used tough love to deal with each other. There's a terrible stigma about BPD. People say we're liars, thieves, psychopaths, even murderers. And when I entered, the staff treated me the same way. They were someone who actually was all those things. I thought it was going to be really easy, but it wasn't. But the beautiful thing is, you don't have any medication. You're not allowed. The community was a place where they took your medication away from you to get back to what made you the person you are. The only way to find out what's wrong with you is to have to sit with your pain and acknowledge it. We had a bell we could ring every time we were in distress. I used to ring it every time I used to ring it all day until Mel, one of the staff members, asked me if I could try just sitting to face my pain, and I did. I was overwhelmed with panic, fear, nausea, everything you can imagine. But I didn't die. Nothing happened. I got through it, just sitting with it. I started to learn how to live in the world, and that every single person that you look at is your mirror and your teacher. Slowly, instead of blaming everyone and feeling they were punishing you, I learned they are actually giving you a gift. At first, I felt like I was bullied. People there were unkind because they were suffering, and I just couldn't fit in. But it was exactly what I needed. I was reduced to being a tiny child, and I think that was the only way I could let go of the problems of my childhood. It was like growing up again and being reparented all over again. Even though I felt bullied in the beginning, I can't express my gratitude for the tough love and the suffering. Without it, I would have been finished. Now, when I had my awakening, I was being pushed and pushed and pushed. Some members of the group tried to get rid of me, but there was also a 24-hour support system. At first, they said I wasn't conforming. I was too much of an individual, and they wanted to get me a little bit more balanced, you know? So it sounds like they thought of you as a troublemaker, Lauren. Yes, I was. But finally, I thought, hang on a second. Why does everyone hate me? What's wrong with me? I'd been there for a year and I cried for 6 months on the floor. They put up with it because you go there to get your pent-up emotions out. And so you get to a point where you look in the mirror and say, okay, what's going on here? People don't like me. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. And then one night they snapped at me, Lauren, you're on thin ice. We're going to keep you, but this is your last chance. How did you feel? I felt hopeless. I didn't know what to do, Casey. I remember waking up the next morning, grabbing hold of my husband, Martin, and pleading, don't let me go back. And then I realized it was what I had said to Mom and Dad about the abuse. You see how this connects? I'd asked Mum and Dad not to go back to the dentist. And the minute I realized that, Casey, I had this huge feeling of, Casey, hang on a second, Lauren. The abuse was your mum's and dad's fault, nothing to do with you. You didn't need to hold on to guilt for that, Lauren. It's true, Casey. As soon as I made that connection, I felt total inner peace. Do you know, when I left the community, they told me they didn't believe I would make it. My God, Lauren, they said, you must have the skin of a rhinoceros the way we treated you. And then the magic started to happen. I had another 8 months to go. I promised them they would see a change, Lauren. And every time they bullied me, I said, thank you. And what did I do wrong? I started asking questions and they couldn't bully me anymore. Casey, did you have faith? I know that you were so alone with so little to hold on to. You probably didn't think anyone was rooting for you, but what was your faith like? I mean, did you believe that there was something bigger even when you were going through the worst of it? Lauren, yeah, I always believed there was something. I love the teachings of Jesus and Buddha. I've always been a searcher from the time I started singing, Casey, and my voice started soaring in a quest for spirit. I couldn't put my finger on it, but I always knew there was something more. But in the therapeutic community, when I had my awakening, it started to work. I started to look at everyone and send them love and peace. And I took a course in miracles, which is all about love versus the ego. I started using that. Every time someone would be horrible, I'd be nice to them. Often they didn't get it. They thought I was messing with them and it would upset them even more. Casey, did they finally realize you weren't screwing around, Lauren? Yes. The people who had bullied me started to realize I had some kind of awakening. They said things like, oh, I quite like sitting beside you. You're quite peaceful. I became an elder because all these new people came in and I was suddenly important. I was recognized as a person who was getting well. But I tell you, a wonderful thing about the therapeutic community was that Martin got his space. In the community, you're not allowed to pour anything into your family. They put you on contracts, and if you break them, they can throw you out. So Martin got some relief from, he didn't have to carry my burden. Casey, wait, Lauren, hold on. I'm not sure I understand what you mean. Lauren, you can't put more stress on your family. If you get panicky or upset, you ring someone in the community. They are your support system 24 hours a day. And this is not the staff, this is us, rather than pouring out your heart to a family member, Casey. So when you finally finished your stay in the community, what happened next? Well, first, I would like to recommend the therapeutic community to anyone who has a diagnosis of borderline personality disorder. Casey, yes, please do. Okay. If you're diagnosed, ask immediately for the therapeutic community. Obviously, you can't do it at the moment. I'm going to push this time and time again because I do not believe there's any other way to manage this condition. It's just mind-blowing, Casey. You get 24 hours a day support. Where do you have that in life? You get behavioral contracts and everyone's an individual. So, for example, if you're someone that doesn't give enough to others, you'll be put on a contract to support more. If you're someone who gives too much, you'll be put on a contract to protect and support yourself more. You're given discipline by having to help run the community. You're given authority by having to chair the meetings. You're given continuous therapy and you're given a bell to ring when you feel overwhelmed. Casey, Lauren, how? Now tell us the truth. Did you take advantage of the bell? Lauren, well, yes, I did annoy some people. But seriously, this is your biggest opportunity to heal if you have BPD. And remember, that's a blanket term for many types of mental conditions. Your first step is to say to your doctor, look, I understand these places exist. I've heard from Lauren that the therapeutic community saved her life and made her more peaceful and happier and helped her survive in our world. Guys, I wouldn't be here now if it wasn't for the therapeutic community. I wouldn't be able to get through the madness that we're going through. So, there goes the webcam again. Legs everywhere. Webcam falls off. Sorry. Right. Your first step is to say, as I said, a piece, yeah. So I want to get in there, even though I know it's not going to be a piece of cake. People can email me through my website. I'm allowed to support people since I'm a former member of the community. And that is why I'm allowed to have a support line on Moving On TV, all right? To anybody who says that I'm not a Samaritan and therefore I shouldn't be supporting anyone. Get a life. Right. I do not believe for 1 minute that you can medicate BPD because it's a complex needs disorder and you can't medicate 100 different conditions at the same time, approximately. Right. There's no wonder drug that can handle it. People should know they are not on their own. There are thousands of people out there like you. There are forums on Facebook. Joining the community is a step towards a new awakening. I believe you go through a metaphorical crucifixion, where it's the most painful thing you can go through. But then you have your resurrection. You come alive again. You're reborn. Obviously, they need to create more therapeutic communities. It would be good if they put money into it, rather than spending the money on more and more medication. As it is now, there is no funding for continued support once you leave the community, which is unfortunate. See. Yeah, they should keep you in touch with these people. Me. There's just no money. We used to have something called the Moving On group, and that's why I call my theatre company Moving On Theatre. But anyway, after I came out of the community, I had to figure things out by myself. I'd lost my whole support system. Surprise, surprise again. But I started implementing everything I learned in the community. People can learn more about this because it's all going to be on Moving On TV. I'm creating a program called the Recovery Toolbox, where every little tool that I learned, these tools can save people's lives, and they're simple. Casey, that's one reason I'm interviewing you, Lauren. I know you've been there. You've been to the bottom. You've had so many challenges. Just speaking for myself, I would have folded 10 times over, but somehow you get out. So I want to help you get your experiences out to other people. Lauren, If people want to learn more about the tools of recovery, it's all free on Moving On TV. I do what I can. I've learned to be a person of solution. You have to sit with your pain and brainstorm, create solutions. What is the tiniest thing you can do today that's going to make you feel better? So, for example, if I'm not able to do anything big because I don't have the money or I don't have the people, I can still set up a camera in my house and talk about something that I think can help people. Small steps to a goal. Casey, let's hear more about your recovery toolbox, which people can find on your TV channel for free. Lauren, okay, here's a sample. HALT. This is the acronym for don't get too hungry, don't get too angry, don't get too lonely, and don't get too tired. If you get too hungry, your blood sugar will go all over the place and you won't be able to deal with your head. If you get too angry, you'll need a rage room, you know? You'll need to be able to get it out into a room, throw some stuff around and let it out. Otherwise, your anger builds up to such an extreme that it's not going to be good. And then don't get too lonely. You have to get out of the house, mix with people, spend time with friends. Unfortunately, they took that away from us. Finally, don't get too tired. Well, they didn't take it away from me. I've never, ever been in lockdown. I never will be. How can someone who went through all of this put one of those on them and go into lockdown? It just doesn't fit. And so I never have and I never will. Get sleep. Get sleep. Get your 7 hours or you won't be able to function. Use HALT and you will be able to cope a lot better. The other thing I say is if you've got to have a dream, you need a passion. With you, Casey, it's WMAP. With me, it's music, rehearsing, building a band for Piaf and singing and doing Moving On TV. You have to have a dream. You know, happy talk, right? Casey, of course. Lauren, whether it's painting or whatever, it gives you grounding and identity. It gives you a reason to get up in the morning and then you take tiny little steps towards achieving your dream. Casey, wait, Lauren, let me stop you for a second. When you say you've got to take little steps towards that dream, how do you do that? There's always going to be some days when you don't think you can do it. What are some little things that you can do to get there, Lauren? Well, for example, you want to lose weight, okay? But let's say you can't face going to the gym and doing lots of exercise. What you do is you go to a gym and you just walk around. Just get to know the gym or even just stand on a machine. The minute you're doing that, you're starting to create a different reality. It works, Casey. Little steps. There's always a way to do something, Casey. You're incredible. You know that, right, Lauren? Lauren, I trained as a life coach, Casey. I wanted to be able to understand how to set goals. Another tool that's very helpful is make a list of all you have to do. I listened to one of your interviews. I think it was Virginia Phillips. She said you can always find 5 things. Make a list of all you have. You can always find 5 things to be grateful for, right? 5 things. List them. Other things are very important to me and others that are diagnosed with BPD in particular. Learn about your condition. Google it. Get books, read, understand, educate yourself and all the personalities that are in you. That's what I did. And then teach your loved ones because you have to have this support. Martin and I went to counseling together. I explained everything to him. He understands how my head works and we've been together. This was 24 years. We're now separated. We've been separated now nearly 8 months. Casey, that's awesome, Lauren. And after I came out of the community, our marriage got better because I was able to educate him on how to talk to me. It's called stop, think, and listen. You have to treat everyone as a vulnerable, sensitive human that deserves respect, and you have to really, really listen to what they're saying. And sometimes you have to repeat back to them what they said because they need to be validated. So many of the people in the therapeutic community were never validated. We weren't allowed to be ourselves, so to say, help, I'm suffering. With many of us, our parents wouldn't listen because they couldn't deal with our pain. Like my molestation, for example, we learned to express how we feel and to say to others, I'm so sorry you're suffering, and I understand you're suffering. Do you understand what I mean, Casey? Yes, I do. Seems like good advice for any relationship. Would you be the person that I'm speaking to right now if it weren't for Martin? Lauren, well, I went into the therapeutic community partly in order to save my marriage. When I came out, that's when Martin and I started to get to know each other. He is very accepting of me. Martin never tried to change me ever. But as I said, we broke up in the lockdown because the differences were too strong. Casey, that's awesome. That's love. His compassion was unbelievable when I lost my father, and I'm very lucky. And I'm very grateful because Martin was there for me when I lost Dad. He stuck by me when I was in the wheelchair, and he's a good friend now, a very good friend now. We're there for each other. When I broke my leg, he was my caretaker for a while. And that's how it is in a relationship sometimes. Your partner picks you up and holds you, they heal you. And yeah, he has been incredible. But without the therapeutic community, I wouldn't have had anything. Not a marriage, not nothing. Got you. Okay, what else has helped you maintain your peace, Lauren? Well, there's something called the violet flame. The violet flame, there you go. Violet flame. Meditation, which I discovered and researched on YouTube. It's all about beautiful visualizations. And to me, it just feels like I'm connected to God, love. I use that and a book called The Healing Code by Alex Lloyd. I use a positive affirmation like I am peace or there is only love. And I ask everything but love to leave my life. The visualization is really very beautiful and very calming. I use this meditation after the loss of my dad. Before I do the meditation, my problems are right on top of me. It's like being pushed down by this heaviness. Then when you do this violet flame meditation with the mantras and the healing code, it relieves the feeling of anxiety and depression. It's like magic. I'm passing all this on. And it does actually work, even in extreme panic, the way we're living at the moment. If you combine the violet flame with the healing code, which is on one of my awakenings, I'll try and find it, where I teach it, you can relieve panic. Lauren, you're amazing. What else are you up to? Lauren, I'm writing a book called Standing on My Own 2 Feet. I can see everything I need to teach about mental health. I want to show the progression of traits from childhood that you may not even notice. I see my own progression. One of the traits, for example, is risk-taking. When I was little, I was always climbing up cupboards and swinging the highest on the playground to show off. I didn't have any fear or thought of consequences. If I had been lucky as a child, my problems could have been picked up earlier. Another part of recovery I would recommend is don't watch TV. This was then. There's so much violence and lies. Watch Moving On TV, which has no violence and is very respectful. I feel physically sick when I watch mainstream. Casey, how do you have time to watch TV? You're helping people, it seems, 25 hours a day. Lauren, right. I've learned so much from the experiences in the therapeutic community that I want to help others who may feel somewhat like I did. It was there I started using A Course in Miracles, which is free on the internet and teaches you on a day-to-day basis to choose love and happiness. Everyone is connected to you, so what you give, you receive. If you smile at someone, they're likely to smile back at you and vice versa. Casey, what else did you learn that you like to share, Lauren? I learned that it's absolutely okay to be a bit selfish. Not to the point you're hurting other people, but you have to take care of yourself. Self-nurturing, self-compassion are necessary, and also structure. Casey, you know, that's something I completely agree with. The Japanese believe that even in your living quarters, structure is so important. If your bedroom, you've got clothes all over the place and your living space is out of whack, then your life is going to be out of whack, Lauren. Exactly. With BPD, you can't have too many choices. If you're very vulnerable, you need to give yourself a clear structure. So the therapeutic community is like a job. 3 days a week, you're at your job. You're up at 8 in the morning, you're there at 9 to start your job, and you finish at 3. And you're able to cope after that. You give yourself structure. Do you know what I mean? Casey, I sure do, Lauren. Also, I found, and this is mind-blowing, Casey, that you aren't always upset for the reason you think. Someone could say something to you and you may think you're bothered by that. It may actually be something your mom or your dad or a friend said, or something happened to you as a child. In the community, we learn to sit with this feeling and ask yourself, where did I feel like this before? Then, as you think back, you may touch that real incident that is the core of your unpleasant feeling. And then you won't be angry or whatever anymore. For example, after I came out of the community, Martin and I had a row once. I was really upset. I didn't remember what it is, but it became very shut off from me. I thought it was him that was making me feel that way. So I sat in a room with my journal and I wrote about it. And do you know what I discovered? He was my mum, the coldness of my mum. That's what she would do. She'd shut off. And I thought, thank God for that. It wasn't Martin. He was giving me the opportunity to heal more stuff around my relationship with my mother, Casey. Now that's self-awareness, Lauren. It really is. I mean, it takes a long time to get to real self-knowledge, Casey. Great, Lauren. You know, Casey, I came out of the community with such inner peace that I knew I had to stay well on a daily basis. And by the way, the therapeutic community is free on the NHS in the UK. So with all the work I've done, I can say this works. And it's affordable as well. People with BPD are highly sensitive, creative people, but it's harder for them to function in this world. They're special human beings with amazing talents. Casey, to read your story, Lauren, is to see that the therapeutic community did work for you and you are able to share what you learned. I think you're going to touch the lives of many people, Lauren. Thank you. Well, my job is to go out there and tell everyone about recovery. And I don't even think about mental health issues as anymore. It's about recovery. It's like the 12 steps. You come out of your denial, you recognize you've got something you're not coping with. Whether that is mental health or not, Casey, is a big question mark, Casey. Casey says, I think everybody is mentally ill, so we might disagree. Lauren, you know, there's nothing really wrong with us, and I'm talking about those with BPD. We just struggle a little bit more with life because we've had difficult experiences. We're more sensitive in some ways. But you know, everyone is codependent. If you take away someone's children, they'll be diagnosed with a mental illness because they won't be able to function. You take someone's job away and that leads to becoming ill. Casey, is there any other advice you'd like to offer? Perhaps more from your toolbox, Lauren. Forgiveness. You can't function without it. I'm not talking about when you've been hurt or abused. You don't forgive what that person did because what they did was not okay. But you forgive their soul because you don't want to be lying in bed churning and feeling sick because of them. So you're forgiving them in order to move on. One of the best techniques and programs I know is the 13 Steps of Self-Forgiveness by Colin Tipping, which I put on Moving On TV for you guys. Casey, you know, people can sometimes do horrible things to each other. You're saying don't forgive the act, but forgive the person? Lauren, you forgive the soul of that person. And I'm not talking about the archons that took over the human race. This is humans, all right? Because what they did was not okay. You can't tell anybody that abusing a child, for instance, isn't a horrible act. But if that happens, you must let that person go and move on. You've got to take your rage out in some way, do some kind of visualization. I put my abuser in a big mincer and minced him up like minced meat. You can do all that in your mind and you can change yourself. So you forgive the soul of that person and let it go. And you forgive yourself because we're all connected. A lot of the time we're holding stuff against ourselves and don't realize. It's very hard to forgive yourself. Casey, yes. The mind is very strong in both good and bad ways, Lauren. That's right. We can heal ourselves, but also punish ourselves by holding on to guilt. Guilt is a complete waste of time, but we love to hold on to it. Casey, I've heard a lot about the visualization thing you were talking about. Athletes use it to picture themselves winning, and the mind adapts to that and creates added motivation and confidence, Lauren. Absolutely. Let me tell you a story about the power of the mind to heal. After my dad's funeral, I was completely alienated from members of my family who had been so cruel to both my dad and myself. So I decided to find an Al-Anon meeting to understand their alcoholism, which caused much of their behavior. I parked in front of the building, got out, and boom, smashed the front, my tibia plateau. Really a serious break. I didn't know if I'd ever walk again. I didn't want the operation. My doctors told me it was necessary. I wanted very minimal medication. So I wasn't allowed to put weight on my leg and was confined to a wheelchair. It was horrible, Casey, but do you know what? After 4 months in the wheelchair, my leg healed naturally. Casey, amazing, Lauren. The power of the mind, right, Lauren? That's right, Casey. And you know, when I was in the wheelchair, I asked myself, if you can never walk again, Lauren, what do you want? Well, I want my life. I want my singing. I want my dream. I want to campaign for everyone to learn how to be happy regardless of all the pain in the world. I want to support vulnerable people. And I thought, wouldn't it be so cool to have a TV station where everybody could go on because they're talented, Casey? And so there we are, back on Moving On TV. You could perform and highlight others who have inspiration stories to tell and talents to share. I hope all our listeners and readers will check out your many programs on Moving On TV, HopeGloryProductions.com. This is where they can check out how to stay sane in a crazy world, contact you, and also link to your YouTube channel, Moving On TV Community, which we're on now. You can also be contacted there for singing and speaking requests, right, Lauren? That's right. You can also purchase my daily cards that go along with how to stay sane in a crazy world by contacting me or going on my Facebook page, How to Stay Sane in a Crazy World. Casey, I should also mention that movingOnTheatre.co.uk, you could see Lauren's upcoming shows and also purchase her angelic vocals available on YouTube. Thank you, Casey. And please check out thetherapeuticcommunity.org for more information about the therapeutic community, including their contact information and locations worldwide. There's so much opportunity and help out there. Not now because of lockdowns. Absolutely, Lauren. Thank you for sharing your journey so openly. Your hard work and determination to give up and to find a better, never to give up, and find a better life for yourself. It's not only amazing, but also an inspiration to others who want to do the same. Lauren, thank you for this opportunity, Casey. If it wasn't for all those people doing what they did and the experience I went through, I wouldn't have been on WMAP. All roads led me here today, Casey. And if I hadn't encountered many of the people who brought challenges into my life, we wouldn't be talking right now. So it's all relative. I'm so glad we're both in this place at this time, because I am proud to call you my friend and to share your information and wisdom with my listeners and reading audience. And that is Simply Amazing, Chapter 8. One of my biggest achievements in life. And I hope that inspires people to understand why I am the way I am and why I never use medication, never will, for the mind and now not the body. If I can't figure it out, then it's better to leave. I will never touch medication again, not until we're clean. Not until the world is clean. I will never touch medication for this, ever. It's just not going to happen. So that's my story. And now I've got to go and drive down to the commune to try and do ecstatic dancing. And I'm going to drive very slowly because it's very dark out there and I'm a bit nervous, but I'm going to try and do it. So next time you see me, I might be on here doing ecstatic dancing with the beautiful commune up the road. If not, I will leave you. Well, I can't, just in case I'm going to be streaming. I have to turn this off, don't I? So I'm going to love you and leave you. And I'm going to encourage you all to share Moving On TV, to share the love that we are expressing here to the human race, to help people to learn how amazing they are, simply amazing, and not what they've been trying to tell you you are. You are simply amazing. You have choices. You can be whatever you want to be. just stand up and say, I'm not having it. I do not consent. Where we go one, we go all is a mantra to bring the human race together. I love you. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.